Welcome to one of the strangest stories in American history. Why 83% of Nevada's land belongs to the U.S. federal government. Open your eyes and look across the vast desert of Nevada. No roads, no houses, just endless barren land. But who owns it? Nevada is the seventh largest state in America, with over 110,000 square miles of land. Yet 83% of it, roughly 56 million acres, belongs to Washington, D.C. This was not a mistake or a myth. It was federal policy, and Nevada was shaped that way from the beginning. To understand why, we have to go back to 1848, right after the Mexican-American War. The United States gained an enormous territory, including the land that would become Nevada. At the time, this Great Basin region was seen as dry, rocky, and inhospitable, so the federal government simply held on to it. In 1864, rushed into statehood by President Abraham Lincoln for Civil War votes, Nevada had to sign the Enabling Act. Buried inside was a clause where Nevada officially disclaimed all right and title to unappropriated public lands within its borders. So Nevada gave up the right to its own land before it was even a state. But who manages these 56 million acres today? These vast lands are managed by a patchwork of federal agencies, including the Bureau of Land Management, the Department of Defense, the National Park Service, and the Forest Service. By far, the biggest federal landlord is the Bureau of Land Management, or BLM. They control roughly 47% of Nevada's land, managing it for grazing, mining, recreation, and conservation. The Department of Defense holds enormous chunks of land for military installations and test ranges. This includes the Nevada Test and Training Range, where the highly restricted Area 51 is located. This federal control has created centuries of contentious land battles, particularly with those who live and work the land, the Nevada ranchers. For generations, Nevada ranchers have grazed cattle on this land, but they don't own it. They lease it from the BLM, and the rates are set by the federal government, which has caused enormous resentment. This resentment boiled over in 2014 during the Cliven Bundy standoff. Bundy, a cattle rancher, refused to pay grazing fees, arguing the federal government had no right to the land. The resulting confrontation made international headlines. So why didn't the federal government ever sell off or privatize this land, as happened in the East and Midwest? The primary reason is simple. The land was too hard to settle. Deserts, mountains, and no reliable water meant that the 160 acres offered under the Homestead Act were useless to support a family, so the land stayed empty and federal. Then came the 20th century. Nevada became strategically critical, specifically for the Nevada test site, where the U.S. tested over 900 nuclear weapons. This required massive amounts of isolated, controlled land that would rarely, if ever, return to public use. The debate is far from over. Today, a growing movement known as the Sagebrush Rebellion is demanding that federal land be returned to the states for local control and economic development. Activists argue that local control is necessary, while opponents warn that if states own the land, they could sell it off, leading to the disappearance of open spaces, wildlife habitats, and public access for recreation. There's also a financial angle. The federal government pays Nevada hundreds of millions annually through programs like PILT to compensate for untaxable federal land. This money would stop if the land was transferred. The story of Nevada's land is complex, centered not just on dirt and desert, but on power, identity, and who gets to decide the future of the American West. 83% is not just a number, it's the defining fact of Nevada's existence.